Today I'm going to show you how to use symmetry to make your very own Navajo blanket inspired design. We're going to start with some paints. These are temper cakes. We need to get our brush wet and we're going to wake our paints up. We're going to do lots of swirling to make sure our colors get nice and bright. I'm going to choose 2 or 3 colors and I'm going to start with a nice striped pattern. I chose brown, so I'm going to make brown stripes that go across my paper. There should be space between your stripes for the other colors that you chose to use. Notice I'm leaving a space, but it's a nice even space. If my paint gets dry, I'm going to add more water to it. And while I'm painting, I want to make sure that my stripes go all the way off the edge of the paper. Between colors, I wash my brush really well. Move on to my next color. Swirling, get it nice and bright. Apply my stripes in the spaces that I left, making sure they go all the way off the edge of the paper, just like that. You can choose 2 colors, or you can use 3. But you're going to be adding a lot of shapes, a lot of other shapes to this. So you'll have a chance to add more colors later when we cut some paper. It'll be a little orange. It's okay. There we go. I'm really trying to fill in all the space between so that it's totally covered. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to let it dry.
I think I wake it up, but I'm just doing extra to make sure it really gets like.
Now that my stripes are dry, I'm ready to move on. I'm going to use some paper strips, scissors, glue, and a pencil. I'm going to cut and glue some shapes on to make a symmetrical pattern. The pattern is going to have symmetry from side to side and from top to bottom. So I really have to do some careful thinking here. If I start with something like this and I want to make a zigzag, I can draw a nice wide zigzag on a strip of paper, keeping it right down the middle. I have a little bit of space here. I'm going to cut that out, and if I do this carefully, I will have 2 zigzag patterns. If I'm going to have symmetry, and I use this on this side, I'll need to use this piece over here to make it match. If I decide that I want to put them over here, I'll need to put it on the bottom also. Anywhere that I put something on one side, I have to match it. That will give it symmetry side to side and top to bottom. If I don't want these to be long, I can also trim them shorter to make them fit. Other shapes can be made using the strips too. I can cut on a diagonal towards the corner to make a triangle. I can cut straight across to make a square. I can change a square into a triangle also by cutting across diagonally. I can make small rectangles. I bet you could think of some other shapes that you could make too. I'm going to organize these in a pattern. I might work in the center, and I might work on the sides. I'm planning how I want this to work, how I want this to look before I start gluing things down. I'm going to add To make it symmetrical top to bottom, since I put one here, I'm going to also put a green rectangle there, and I'm going to do that over here to make it match. It has to have symmetry side to side. You can keep going and adding more shapes if you'd like. You might find it fun to put shapes on top of other shapes. You can layer them. This is where it gets kind of exciting. Keep going till you've completed your design. You should have something on each side and something in the center too. Once you've decided what it's going to look like and your plan is complete, you can start taking your pieces off carefully. Use your glue stick, put your glue on the back of those shapes. Lots of glue here. The painted paper is very dry, and we're going to need lots of glue to make sure that our shapes stick on very, very well. Make sure that you keep your pattern just the way that you chose it. Remember, we're trying for a design that reminds us of a Navajo or Native American weaving. Lots of those weavings had geometric shapes. Patterns, triangles, zigzags. When you're done, make sure that you sign your name on the front, somewhere in the corner, like an artist. Nice and neat. Here are some designs that other first graders have come up with. I bet you will come up with something amazing.